There's not many 18-year-old games out there that have the replayability that a game like Diablo 2 has to offer. A dark fantasy and horror themed world delivers the perfect atmosphere for ARPG players who like the simpler things in life. In today's video, we provide newer players a more pragmatic way to level and aim to assist struggling players seeking to reach level 80.
You're too late.
For levels 1 through 15, I suggest Tristram runs. To unlock Tristram, travel to the Dark Woods, find the scroll, take that scroll, and then create Tristram. If you're online, you're going to want to do as many Tristram runs as you can until you hit that level 15. If you're soloing, fear not, travel to the Black Marsh, clear the towers until you get around level 12 or 13, and then proceed to get to the end game of Act 5. For online players, after reaching level 15 from public Tristram runs, feel free to clear Act 1 in the Catacombs. For level 16 through 20, you're going to want to do Tomb runs. This is going to be the last waypoint in Act 2 named Canon of the Magi. Enter one of the 7 tombs in public games. Once you hit level 20, proceed to Act 5. For levels 20 through 24, it's going to depend how deep you are into a ladder reset or if you're playing by yourself. If you're playing online, the most efficient way to get the 20 through 24 is to get carried in the secret cow level. To do so, you'd either have to have a friend carry you or ask around publicly. If begging isn't your style, just make sure that you get level 24 by the time you get to Ancient's Way in Act 5. Now that you're level 24, go ahead and defeat the Ancients. Doing so will give you the level 25. The reason that I point out level 25 is because you actually cannot clear Baal until you've reached level 25 for good experience. For both online and offline play, you're going to want to do Baal runs from level 25 through level 40. If you're still not feeling strong enough at level 40, feel free to do some extra Baal runs up until level 45 or 50. Note, if you're concerned about getting faster experience, it's best to not kill Baal. Now that you've defeated normal difficulty, you can create your very own secret cow level. For non-melee characters at this point, I do recommend going to the secret cow level and finding a crystal sword. It's important that you do not use, I repeat, do not use a crystal sword that you found anywhere except for in the secret cow level. If you use a crystal sword from anywhere else, it probably will not give you 4 sockets. To guarantee your 4-socketed crystal sword, all you have to do is complete the very first quest in Act 5. Speak to Larzuk and he will reward you with a socket quest. Once you have your 4 open socket crystal sword, I do recommend that you make a spirit weapon out of it. If your resistance are bad at this point, I do also recommend Ancient's Pledge. This is a very easy rune word to create. If you save the barbs in Act 5, which is the second quest, you will be rewarded with the exact runes that you need. This shield is not endgame viable, however, this shield can make a huge difference. Alright, now that you're level 40 at minimum, you are ready to go into Nightmare. For levels 40 through 60, I do recommend you just get to the end of Act 5. From here, you have 2 options. You can either run through the game, just play it through, or if you're online, you could ask for a rush. You could pay up your Hellforge for a rush if you don't feel like begging. The most important thing is just getting to the end at this point. Note that if you were rushed at any point in this time and did not play legit, you're probably not going to have very good gear. During Nightmare, if you feel like your gear is just not good enough, I recommend clearing Endariel a few times. You should be able to get a few good things. If you do make it to Act 3, Mephisto is always really good as well to farm in Nightmare. The Chaos Sanctuary is also fantastic for leveling, but the goal for Nightmare really is just to get to level 60, however long that takes you. Now that you've gotten to Act 5 in Nightmare, just level with these Baal runs the same way. For single player, you can try increasing the players count by typing /players. If you're online, you're going to have to play with other people, but level 60 is a really good number here. Note that you can go up to 70 in Nightmare if you feel like hell is just too difficult after trying that. A quick tip to improve all of your resistance: travel to Act 5, go to the Crystalline Passage, from there find the Frozen River, and rescue Anya. By doing so, you'll get 5 to all of your resistance. You can do this on normal, Nightmare, and Hell. I strongly recommend doing this for every difficulty that you can kill. Now you're ready to enter Hell. You should be a minimum level of level 60, and this is where things get difficult. Your gear is going to be very important here, and more importantly, you're going to need a mercenary. I strongly recommend Act 2's mercenaries. Smoke is a fantastic rune word that you can get. It's very cheap and affordable. These runes can be found from the Countess in Nightmare and also Nightmare Cows. For your mercenary's helmet, you want to try to get something that has life steal on it. If you're having mana issues, I strongly suggest Insight. Insight rune word not only replenishes your mana, but also deals a lot of damage. These runes can also drop from Nightmare Cows and Nightmare Countess. If you do come to Hell and you're just struggling way too much, look at your resistance and make sure that they're maxed out. If they're not maxed out, at least make sure you have 40 to 50 in all resistance before moving on, in my opinion. Can it be done without it? Absolutely, yes it can. But for a newer player, which this video is made for, I don't suggest it. The strategy that we're going to use here for Hell is very similar to that of Normal and Nightmare. With the assistance of your mercenary, push through until you get to Act 4. The difference here is there's going to be a lot of immunities in Hell. For example, my traps in here uses lightning, which means lightning immune monsters are very difficult for me to kill. This is where your mercenary will shine. In my opinion, for newer players, I'd say it's just best to avoid these enemies altogether, but in certain situations you will have to fight them. For both single player and multiplayer, I do recommend running the Chaos Sanctuary. Often in Hell, players do prefer to run the Chaos Sanctuary over Bale. This is because the Chaos Sanctuary has high density of mobs. If you're online, it may be faster for you to get public Bale runs. It just depends on your personal preference and how strong your character is. Okay, so now you know the beginner method of getting from levels 1 through 80. A more advanced way to level in Diablo 2 is to never leave normal difficulty. It's important to note that you do not get the Bale quest under any circumstance. By doing so, you'll become a lot more marketable. There are always people looking to G-Rush, and that's what you'll be doing. You'll be what's called a bumper. A G-Rush is essentially where you get pushed through the next difficulty, regardless of what your level was. So generally, you'd have to be level 20 for Ancients, but if the other person stays in town, since you're level 40 or level 20, you'll push him through with you through Nightmare. So instead of having to pay your Hellforge, what you'll do is you'll become the bumper, and there's always people looking for bumpers. It's a mutual benefit because you'll get a free rush and they'll be able to push their friends or themselves or however they're doing it to the next difficulty. The disadvantage of doing something like this though is that you'll basically have no gear, you'll be naked, you'll get to Hell, and unless you get carried through Bales and Chaos all the time, you'll pretty much be useless. But eventually you'll get to the point in Diablo 2 where this method is definitely the way to go. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for today's video, everyone. I hope this guide can help a newer player out there. I understand it's not the greatest guide in the entire world, but it'll definitely get the job done. This is actually my first time ever creating a Diablo 2 video with this style of editing, so please let me know if you prefer this style video for guides and if you want to see more of them. I do weekly Diablo 2 and Path of Exile videos, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace!